But the way she was doing it was very interesting. And I remember in Russia when I was making fish soup for somebody who was sick, I would buy, like, my husband was a fisherman, so I very often have to buy anything. I would cook like small fish first, and then I would throw away all small fish, and then to that stock, which was already cooked like for 1 hour, I would add like very fancy types of fish and cook that fish only for 20 minutes. But I would get like stock with a lot of bone marrow from fish. And that is very nutritive for people who had the surgery.
So does the bone marrow come from what animals would you use it from?
Yeah.
From chicken?
I would do chicken and fish, my first preference.
Yeah.
But again, because beef is supposed to be cancerogenic, it would be probably my third choice. But if somebody is anemic, I'm telling you, nothing is better than the red meat. I would rather give them red meat, like filet mignon, than do Iprogen shot. Because Iprogen shot is still chemical, and it doesn't really make you have more red blood cells. What it does, it keeps your red blood cells from your bone marrow. So you're taking the money from your saving deposit and putting in a checking deposit. While if I'm bringing filet mignon, I am bringing more money to my checking.
For me, the Neupogen was like LSD. I had such a bad experience on it.
A lot of people suffer from Neupogen, Iprogen, and other drugs. So basically, during and after chemotherapy, I already explained you this principle. If you're doing a cold treatment, what do you want? You want everything warm, right? Because chemotherapy is hot.
Cool.
Other side effects. A lot of people will have constipation. What is good for constipations? Aloe vera, beets, plums, ginger tea. If you have nausea, ginger tea, lemon juice. If you have ulcers in the mouth, the best thing, watermelon. It's bitter, it's not fun to eat, but what I usually do, I cook it maybe for 10-20 minutes, and then I saute it with onions.
Is it bitter?
The bitter melon, yeah.
Taste okay?
It tastes okay, but you need to cook it for 10-20 minutes before you actually prepare it.
What kind of melon was that?
It is bitter melon. You can buy it in Whole Foods all the time. You can buy it in Japanese and Chinese store all the year round, and nothing treats ulcers in the mouth better. Another thing I do is watermelon, and I'm getting the white part, the rind. Yeah, I do that, and you can put it in your mouth like compress of that white part, right on the canker sore. I mean, it's much more pleasant than what doctors give you usually. So during radiation, that's the food I usually recommend patients to have. So again, if you don't remember everything I'm saying today, we're gonna email it to you.
Lucy?
Yeah.
The side effects of chemo, what do you do for peripheral neuropathy?
Food-wise, very little. What you can do right now is cold compresses.
Cold?
Yes, cold compresses on your feet, like in the socks and in your gloves. Acupuncture is phenomenally good for neuropathy.
What if that didn't work?
What, acupuncture? How many sessions do you have?
10?
10? Well, I'll tell you that usually neuropathy is a longer than 10-session treatment, unfortunately. Because neuropathy, if you will not treat it, you're probably going to get rid of it in 3 years. If you will treat it, you will not have it after 1 year.
What if you treated it and you have it after 10 years?
You shouldn't. Who was your doctor?
Stephen Chan.
Try another doctor.
I did.
And still didn't work.
Mao.
Dr. Mao?
Mm-hmm.
Me? Marshini? Yeah. Well, it usually works. You sometimes, vitamin B, all sorts of vitamin
I've
Bs
had
will
vitamin
be
B.
good, yeah.
What else?
That's about it. There are formulas actually invigorate collaterals, which also works for neuropathy. I like that formula, invigorate collaterals.
How do you spell it?
Invigorate.
Invigorate collaterals.
Collaterals?
Yeah.
Collaterals.
What is that?
What
It's
is
the name of
that?
the company that makes that.
No,
Oh,
that's the name of the formula. The company who makes it, I don't
It's-
remember.
Con herbs, but you can just email us. I'll email you the information on the herbs that she's speaking about.
Yeah.
I haven't
Boil
emailed my
bitter
wife. Okay.
melon and
It's
then
time
drink
you
the
did.
water.
How about a phone?
Phone me.
The water will be
I'll give you a
bitter.
card
You
after
want the
we're done.
bitterness out of it. I mean, you can.
I mean, I sometimes it's doing the bitter, it just
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
said sometimes I'm really quick, you know, because I know I have to.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can do that.
because that's a good thing to do, yeah.
Okay, the water
It's-
is-
I used to be able to buy the bitter watermelon powder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but now I don't trust China and I'm trying to buy everything which is like Chinese but goes through Europe and has like 3 types of like independent testing. And my daughter and I right now are starting our own organic Chinese herbs company. But don't ask me when it's gonna be available because it's so hard to find organic herbs. It's so hard. Ron and I have to outsource like from 7 different companies to make one formula. It's very hard to find organic. But that's my goal because China becomes less and less reliable and everything what I sell, I go through 3 independent labs to make sure there is no heavy metals, there is no E. coli, there is no arsenic acid. There are like so many things I want to check for, and of course pesticides. I mean, China became so bad with pesticides. And it becomes a real problem to find a clean formulas. That's why my daughter, who is a doctor in Stanford and doing her fellowship in immunology oncology, joining me for that because we just see necessity in it. But again, I don't know how long it's gonna take me to really find everything I need in organic form. All right, so basically, I really like that expression from Thomas Edison because I truly believe that if we're gonna eat right and we will do everything preventive, we will never need doctors. And in old China, it was a great expression which was saying that if the emperor would become sick, he would not pay his doctor. Because the doctor's job to prevent the emperor from being sick. If the emperor is sick, the doctor failed. Of course, in our society, with our insurance system, I never see patients who come to see me for preventive to begin with. They always come like very, very, very sick. But when I bring them to the point of well-being, I said, I want to see you once a month, no matter what, just for tune-up. Especially cancer patients. I have cancer patients who I'm seeing for the last 17 years, once a month. And you know what? They're happy, they're not complaining, they're in remission for 17 years, they don't have colds, flus, they have no problems. And it's not such a big price to pay. It's better to do prevention than really go through the 9 yards of disease. So I believe in preventive medicine. Fun part, no, I didn't mean that this fun part. So for those who want, just write down right now my telephone number or my email, and the whole 33 slides will be emailed for you, to you.
What's your name?
Ron.
Yeah, Ron is in charge of everything. I'm clueless. I only like treating patients. I like doing presentations. I hate writing checks. I hate everything else. That's why I have Ron. I'm lucky. 20 years together. I probably would close my practice if he would quit.
No.
He always tells me I don't give him enough credit, so here, public credit.
I'll stop it.
All right, got it? Can I go further?
Yes.
All right, that's one of my favorite soups, sweet potato soup. So easy to make, honestly. And in this time of the year, I like squash, I like sweet potatoes. You can add there 1 apple, and it's so delicious. I add usually that white part, I add a little bit of yogurt. I'm not big on sour cream. I add just a little bit of goat yogurt. I'm doing okay with time,
You're
right?
good. You're good.
Okay, so last time I talked about chicken soup. It was very popular, and we mailed so many recipes of chicken soup. And basically, I mean, the reason I even started giving the recipe for the chicken soup, I remember I had a patient, and she said, "What should I eat after surgery?" And I said, "Chicken soup." She said, "Where should I get it? Whole Foods or like something else?" I said, "How about make it yourself before the surgery, put refrigerator, and like you come home, you have soup." She didn't have mom or significant other to cook for her. She said, "I don't know how to make chicken soup." That's when I first time thought about, my goodness, people don't know how to make chicken soup. And that's when I did my first lecture on nutrition. Because I realized that a lot of people in the United States really don't know how to make basic things. Most things I give you today as a recipe, I make myself. A lot of pictures here is from my kitchen. I mean, if it was like not so good picture, I found it on Google. I like buttersquash. As a matter of fact, everybody likes salads, but you notice that this salad almost has no greens, nothing raw. Everything is baked and cooked. So if you have a craving for a salad in the winter season, I will add a little bit of greens, but the base of my salad still will be, or that's one of my favorite salads too. I cook so much beets in all different ways. I mean, you can bake it in the stove, you can just boil it, you can shred it and add there a little bit of, it's actually very big in Russia. Maybe that's why I love it so much. Yeah, borscht, exactly. So, yeah.
I'll tell you, when I went to Moscow and St. Petersburg, the borscht there, and I don't like beets, was fabulous.
I
Versus
love Russian
American
borscht.
borscht, you know, in the bottle of the
Junk,
Shevitz.
junk.
Completely, it was fabulous.
Yeah, it is not even a borscht. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Green tops too?
yes, I like it.
The
Yeah.
whole beet.
Yeah, the whole beet. Yeah. And I use the green part usually in my smoothies.
Why do you peel the sweet potato after you roast it? What's the matter with the skin?
I like sweet potatoes with skin. I wash everything, I scrub everything.
Said peel for soup.
For soup, yeah, because otherwise it will not be smooth. But when I do sweet potato just eating, I'm just eating the whole potato with the skin. Because it's a lot of potassium in the skin, any skin. Like regular potato, sweet potato, squash, I usually eat it with skin. I just wash it well, and then I'm just eating whole.
On the beet tops, how do you handle the oxalic acid, which is so heavy in beet tops?
Well, beets I usually peel. I am talking about squash, potato,
You mentioned the green part, the tops of it.
and what is there, you said?
Oxalic acid, it just eats the hell out of your teeth.
It's also in spinach.
Well, I usually don't eat just that. I'm gonna show you how I spread it in my smoothie. So it is just probably 1/5 part of my recipe. So when you mix it with carrots and apple and coconut juice,
Or dilution.
yeah, I dilute it,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I love filet of sole, I love filet of cod, everybody loves probably salmon. If you eat salmon, make sure it's wild. I don't believe in farm-raised salmon. And I prefer the small types of fish because it doesn't carry mercury. Because if you get into big fish like tuna or sturgeon, very often it's too big of a fish and there is a lot of mercury there.
How about branzino?
Branzino is great. Wild branzino, oh.
Delicious.
How about salmon?
Salmon's very good if it's wild. I don't like farm. Even if they say consciously farm, like in Whole Foods. You know, I don't eat that much, and if I eat, I want to eat good quality. I cook everything myself. I know what I add there, and I cheat. Like if recipe will ask for the sour cream, I'll put yogurt. Like certain things I'm gonna substitute to make it healthier.
So whitefish is better than salmon?
I don't say better. It's a different flavor. Salmon has probably the highest amount of omega-3, 6, and 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you will go for omega, it is the best. But I mean, you cannot eat salmon all the time, right? Once in a while you want lighter fish because salmon is heavy. And again, once in a while I like it, and once in a while I want a light and flaky fish. I believe in like variety. Oh, I love duck. Who doesn't, right? And it's so easy to cook. I mean, the guilty part of course is skin. The recipe I'm presenting here is a little bit more fancy and complicated. I don't have a lot of time to cook, so usually what I do with the duck, I put their apples inside. I put it just in the oven for 3 hours at 350 degrees. When it starts juicing, I just use that own juice from apples and from the duck. And I can have a little piece of skin, it's really good, but I mean, duck is very healthy. And it's good for holidays, because on holiday you want something, yeah, we'll eat turkey, but there is, I think for New Year and for Thanksgiving, duck and goose is very kind of festive. We usually don't eat it all the year round. So I like. What did I do wrong?
I was very close to the rest of my hearing.
Maybe.
Necklace was close to the microphone.
I didn't move
It's the
anything.
thing in your hand, can't get too close to that.
That's
So that's the same duck. This is a little more complicated recipe. I do,
Yeah.
that's the squash I personally cook. You see my plate here. And you can do it in many ways. I like sometimes big pieces, or sometimes I cut it like a French fries and put it just a little bit of olive oil on the tray and bake it like at 375 maybe for 40 minutes depending. And it's like the most delicious like yam fry or French fry, but again, it's guilt-free.
You do without the skin for that one.
Yeah,
Let's make it like
sometimes. Depends. If I do it for kids, I would do it without. And that's the baked apples I did today for you guys for lunch, except I added here, it's in my kitchen. Today I sprinkled it with pine nuts and walnuts and blueberries and
Oh, sure good.
whatever is in my fridge, honestly. I'm gonna, and here you see I did it with yams. This yellow part is actually baked yams. And that is baked apples. Again, it took me literally yesterday 10 minutes to wash it. I put it in the oven for 1 hour. I was preparing for the lecture. And here I'm serving it to you today.
Lemon juice on the apple?
I didn't. If you want, you can. I like the sweetness of the apple. I don't add their maple syrup, I don't do honey, I don't do butter, I don't do oil. And you know what's interesting, it was a lot of juice because apples crack and I like them a little bit cracked. And then there is a juice when you just take it out of the oven and I put that juice, I poured this juice all over the apple. Yeah. And it allows the nuts and fruits like to stick to it. That's my like guilt-free dessert. Love it. Okay, so last time I was talking about smoothies. That's usually how I make my smoothie. And I have like 3 different recipes, but you can have thousands. But this is the basic of my recipe. And I do add their alkaline water, and I add their coconut juice, usually. Because when I put all these vegetables there, you need to have some kind of a liquid. So for me, it's also usually like 3. That is the recipe just for one. I think it serves 8 cups or 4 cups.
32 ounces.
Yeah,
But that jar holds about.
4 cups.
it's 4 cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when I add beets. That's how usually it looks after. And I like it fresh with like kind of foam. I remember when I was little and we would spend time in Russian forest, the milk right off the goat usually has like a foam that reminds me that goat milk of my
I
childhood.
never had fresh turmeric. I've never bought it. I guess
Well, I'm going to show you how I do it because this is a question which I get a lot. So turmeric actually looks like a ginger in the root, only it is orange, and that's how I peel it. Usually I need 3 pieces of ginger and 3 pieces of turmeric. That's also my own picture in my own kitchen. So that's what I add. This is actually turmeric.
Wow.
This is turmeric. This is ginger. I put cucumbers. So if I'm using chard, when you ask me a question about the beets, so you see it is just probably 1/5 part of my smoothie, so it will not damage anything. Plus alkaline water, plus coconut water, plus cucumbers, they're all alkaline. So you don't get that much acidity.
What is amino acid protein?
I'm sorry?
Amino acid protein?
Sometimes I'm adding amino acids protein. You can buy it in Whole Foods. You have it there. And I always add hemp seed, flax seed. I just like that.
How about ground turmeric?
You can do grind, but why not get like fresh?
Never see it in the market.
Never saw you.
Oh, always. Where you're gonna see the ginger, you're always gonna see, this is turmeric. Whole Foods always have it. Yeah, you're gonna look at it, it's right in the next shape. They look exactly, not exactly, I mean, usually ginger has more branches and turmeric usually has less. Yeah, and I just get a few slices of it because it's quite strong. As a matter of fact, when I do chicken soup, I add their turmeric and I add their ginger. And it gives like a little spice to it. It kind of makes it jazzy.
Dig that spice.
Yeah, you want your breakfast to make you dance.
Is that true that if we add a few drops of lemon into water, it would be alkaline water?
Supposedly, yes, but I don't know.
Someone told me when you buy alkaline water, just drop two drop of lemon juice.
Lemon alkaline.
To your
water
water
doesn't
and
need
that
as pure as that.
You know, we actually have an expert on alkaline water in the room. His name is Alex. Alex, raise your hand. He actually introduced me to alkaline water many years ago. And if you have more questions, you can ask him. Because I know what he knows, and he knows 100 times more than I do.
What about coconut water versus coconut milk? What's the feeling about that?
I prefer water. I
Because
prefer water because I think in milk they add other
I
stuff.
mean, it's pure coconut milk.
If it is pure, yeah, then it's more concentrated, yeah.
Tastes good.
Yeah, it is good. Okay, so that's my recommendations for this lecture, and I even have 15 minutes to answer your questions. Basically, eat everything hot soups, vegetable, chicken, fish, stock, everything with bones. Drink a lot of hot tea with ginger and cinnamon. Why? Because ginger and cinnamon are hot in nature. I use only organic. Sometimes organic is expensive. If you cannot afford organic, make sure that you wash it with salt water, few drops of peroxide. But if you can afford it, definitely use organic. And at this time of the year, again, I would use it baked or steamed. At this time of the year, again, remember that this lecture is for holiday season, for winter. This lecture is not for spring. So that's why I say avoid any type of raw food. It's for now. In summer, it's all about raw. It's cold soups, it's cold salads. I said already that I prefer small fish and wild, and chicken, no hormones, no antibiotics, free range. I already talked about my favorite source, and this is the book which was written 5,000 years ago. And if you read it today, 3,000 years, it sounds like it is today, because we are facing the same problem they faced 3,000 years ago about conduct of life. Basically, moderation, follow the seasons, follow the nature, and you will be healthy. Here, one mistake. I noticed